Ever drowned a plant in good intentions? Overwatering is one of the most common gardening mistakes beginners make. It's an easy trap to fall into. After all, water is essential for life, right? But too much of this good thing can lead to some serious problems for your green friends. Overwatering your plants is like making them live in a swamp. It deprives the roots of the oxygen they need to breathe and flourish. Imagine trying to breathe underwater. Not so easy, is it? That's exactly how your plants feel when they're overwatered. But the problems don't stop there. Overwatering creates a damp, dark environment. That's a playground for fungi and bacteria. These unwelcome guests can cause root rot, a deadly condition that can quickly kill your plant. And once root rot sets in, it's very hard to reverse. Understanding the water needs of different plants is key. Some plants, like succulents, need very little water. Others, like ferns, thrive in more moist conditions. Knowing what each plant needs can make a world of difference. Before you reach for that watering can, check the soil moisture level. You can do this with a simple finger test. If the soil feels dry, 2 inches below the surface, it's time to water. If it feels damp, hold off. Remember, when in doubt, it's better to underwater than overwater. Your plants will thank you for it. Soil health is the foundation of a thriving garden, yet many beginners overlook it. Just like humans, plants need a balanced diet to grow strong and healthy. This diet comes from the soil. It's not just about dirt. It's about a complex ecosystem of minerals, nutrients, and organic matter that plants need to grow and thrive. Let's start with pH level. Soil pH affects how well plants can take up nutrients from the soil. Most plants prefer a neutral to slightly acidic soil, but some plants like blueberries and azaleas prefer more acidic soil. It's important to test your soil's pH level and adjust it if necessary. Next, let's talk about nutrients. Plants need a variety of nutrients including nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. These are often lacking in soil, especially in urban areas or places where the soil has been heavily farmed. Adding organic matter like compost can help replenish these nutrients. Finally, there's texture. Soil texture affects how well the soil can hold water and air. Sandy soil drains quickly but doesn't hold nutrients well. Clay soil holds water and nutrients but can become compacted and hard for roots to penetrate. The ideal soil texture is loamy, which is a mix of sand, silt, and clay. Improving soil health can be as simple as adding compost, aged manure, or other organic matter. These materials break down over time, feeding the soil and improving its texture. Healthy soil equals healthy plants. Always pay attention to the ground beneath your feet. Is there a right time to plant? Absolutely. Imagine this. You've just bought a beautiful perennial. You're excited to see it bloom in your garden. But alas, you plant it in the height of summer and it withers away. The problem? You planted at the wrong time. Understanding when to plant is crucial to your gardening success. Different plants have different prime times for planting. Some thrive in the cool early spring, while others need the heat of midsummer to truly flourish. Consider the seasonal changes. Each season brings a distinct set of conditions that can either nurture or hinder the growth of your plants. The warm, long days of summer might be perfect for sun-loving vegetables, but it can spell disaster for cool season crops like lettuce or spinach. Plant hardiness is another key factor. Some plants are robust, able to withstand a frost, while others are more delicate, needing milder conditions to survive. For example, tomatoes and peppers are heat lovers and should be planted well after the danger of frost has passed. On the other hand, peas and kale are cool season crops that can be sown as soon as the soil can be worked in spring. Remember, all plants have their unique requirements. Research, plan, and then plant. It's not just about getting your hands dirty. It's about understanding the needs of your green companions. Timing is everything in gardening. Make sure you're planting at the right time to ensure the best results. Not all plants are created equal. Some just won't thrive in your garden no matter how much TLC you give them. Picture this. You've fallen in love with a vibrant tropical hibiscus. You plant it in your garden, dreaming of the beautiful exotic flowers it will produce. But you live in a region with harsh winters and little sunlight. Despite your best efforts, your beloved hibiscus wilts and struggles to survive. This is a classic case of planting an inappropriate plant for your specific environment. Every plant has its own set of preferences when it comes to climate, soil type, and sunlight. Some plants love basking in full sun all day, while others thrive in cool shaded areas. Similarly, while some plants can tolerate heavy clay soil, others require well-drained sandy soil to grow. Do your research before bringing home a new plant. Understand what it needs to flourish. Is your climate suitable for it? Can your garden provide the amount of sunlight it requires? Does your soil meet its needs? Answering these questions can save you a lot of heartache and disappointment down the line. Remember, gardening isn't about forcing a plant to adapt to your garden. It's about creating a garden that caters to the needs of your plants. This doesn't mean you can't experiment or step outside the box. It simply means being mindful of the conditions your plants need to thrive. Choose the right plants for your garden and they'll reward you with lush growth and beautiful blooms. Pests can be a gardener's worst nightmare, but ignoring them won't make them go away. Now let's talk about those uninvited guests that love to feast on your precious plants. From pesky aphids to voracious slugs, these tiny troublemakers can wreak havoc in your garden if left unchecked. They can munch on leaves, suck out plant juices, and even spread diseases. It's like a buffet out there for them. But fear not, because there's a solution. Regular pest inspections are crucial in any garden. This doesn't mean you need to turn every leaf or dig up every inch of soil, but do keep an eye out for signs of trouble. Look for things like chewed leaves, discolored patches, or unusual plant wilt. These could all be signs that pests have moved in. Now, you might be thinking, are you white? I'll just spray some chemicals and be done with it. But wait, before you reach for that can of insecticide, consider this. Many common garden pests can be controlled with organic methods. This not only helps maintain a healthy ecosystem in your garden, but it's also safer for you, your family, and your furry friends. Try introducing beneficial insects like ladybugs and lacewings that prey on harmful pests. Or use natural repellents like garlic and chili spray. Even something as simple as a bird feeder can help keep certain pests at bay. Don't let pests take over your garden. Be proactive in your pest management, and your plants will thank you. Space. It's not just the final frontier. It's also essential for your garden. Now, when it comes to gardening, a lot of us can get carried away, cramming in as many plants as we can into every available spot. However, it's important to remember that plants need room to stretch their roots and branches, just like we need space to stretch our legs. Imagine being crammed in a crowded room all day, every day. There's limited air, light, and food. That's exactly how plants feel when they're too close together. Overcrowding can lead to a competition for resources, with the stronger plants hogging the sunlight, water, and nutrients, leaving the weaker ones to struggle and possibly die off. And it's not just about resources. Overcrowded plants are also more vulnerable to diseases and pests. You see, good air circulation is key in preventing many fungal diseases. But when plants are too close together, air can't circulate properly, creating a damp, stagnant environment that pests and diseases just love. So how do you avoid overcrowding? It's simple. Follow the spacing guidelines on your seed packets or plant tags. These guidelines are there for a reason. They tell you exactly how much space each plant needs to grow to its full potential. If you stick to them, you'll give your plants the best chance of thriving. Remember, your garden isn't a game of Tetris. It's not about fitting in as many plants as you can. It's about creating a healthy, balanced ecosystem where each plant has the space it needs to grow and thrive. Give your plants the space they need to grow and thrive. Weed the uninvited guests in your garden that just won't leave. Just like the unexpected drop-in from a distant relative, weeds have a knack for popping up unannounced and overstaying their welcome. But unlike that distant relative, weeds aren't just a minor inconvenience, they're garden invaders, launching a silent takeover that can have devastating effects on your plants. Weeds are the freeloading roommates of the plant world. They compete with your plants for valuable resources like sunlight, water, and nutrients. This competition can stunt growth, reduce yields, and even cause plants to die off. But the damage doesn't stop there. Weeds are also notorious for harboring pests and diseases, turning your garden into a hotbed for unwanted critters and harmful pathogens. Despite their small size, weeds can pose a big problem. That's why it's so important to stay on top of weed control. Regular weeding is a must, but it's just the first step. Prevention is just as crucial. Mulching, for example, not only enriches your soil, but also serves as a physical barrier, preventing weed seeds from germinating and sprouting up in your garden. Remember, every weed you pull is one less competitor for your plants. So grab your gardening gloves, arm yourself with a trusty weed puller, and show those weeds who's boss. Don't let weeds rob your plants of their potential. Stay on top of weed control, and your garden will flourish. A garden without a plan is like a ship without a rudder. Imagine setting sail on a vast ocean without a compass, a map, or any sense of direction. You'd likely end up lost, or worse, shipwrecked. The same principle applies to gardening. Without a well-thought-out plan, your garden may end up a chaotic jumble of plants, or worse, a barren wasteland. Planning your garden layout is an absolute must. It's not as simple as digging a hole and throwing in some seeds. It requires careful forethought and consideration of several factors. Firstly, you need to consider the size of your plants. Some plants might start small, but they can grow into towering giants that overshadow your other plants. Next, take into account the growth habits of your plants. Some plants spread out wide while others grow tall and straight. Some plants are slow growers while others spring up rapidly. Lastly, don't forget about sunlight requirements. Some plants love basking in the sun all day, while others prefer the cool, shady spots. By taking into account these factors, you can create a garden layout that ensures each plant gets the space, light, and growing conditions it needs to thrive. When you plan, you set your garden up for success. You create a well-organized, productive space where every plant has its place and purpose. You save yourself from future headaches and heartaches. Plan your garden wisely, and you'll reap the rewards of a well-organized, productive space. Mulch. It's more than just a pretty topping for your soil. It's like the secret sauce to a flourishing garden, yet it's often overlooked by beginners. Mulch serves many purposes in the garden. First off, it's a powerful weapon against weeds. A layer of mulch can suppress those pesky invaders, saving you time and effort in weeding. Next, mulch is like a moisture reservoir for your plants. It helps retain water in the soil, reducing the need for frequent watering. This is particularly beneficial during those hot, dry spells when your plants are gasping for a drink. But that's not all. Mulch also plays a crucial role in temperature regulation. By acting as an insulating blanket, it helps keep the soil cool in the summer and warm in the winter, providing a more stable environment for your plant's roots. One final point to remember is the type of mulch you use. Organic mulch, like compost or shredded leaves, not only serves the functions we've discussed, but also breaks down over time, enriching your soil with vital nutrients. So the next time you're planning your garden, remember to incorporate mulch into your strategy. It might seem like an extra step, but the rewards are worth it. Don't underestimate the power of mulch. It's a gardener's best friend. Pruning can seem scary, but it's a vital part of maintaining a healthy garden. You see, pruning not only helps in shaping your plants and trees, but it also promotes healthier growth and higher yield. But like any other gardening technique, pruning too needs to be done correctly. One of the most common mistakes made while pruning is cutting at the wrong angle. The angle at which you prune can significantly affect the plant's healing process. Prune too flat, and you leave a large wound that's susceptible to disease. Prune too steep, and water can accumulate, leading to rot. Aim to make your cuts at a 45-degree angle just above a bud to encourage new growth while minimizing the risk of disease. Another common mistake is pruning at the wrong time. While some plants benefit from a good winter prune, others need to be pruned during the growing season. Pruning at the wrong time can stress the plant and reduce its vigor. So, it's always wise to research the best time to prune your specific plants. Lastly, over-pruning is a big no-no. Removing too much of the plant at once can lead to weak, spindly growth and reduce the plant's ability to photosynthesize, ultimately affecting its health and productivity. Prune wisely and your plants will reward you with vigorous growth and abundant blooms.